What do you call a prostitute who mainly hangs out around fairgrounds? Hooker duck. At fairgrounds, of course, there are coconut shies. They'd probably be more outgoing if people stopped throwing things at them. Really. Nearly finished now. That's good. Will the gas men please line up for the next event? The 100 meters. I was on Facebook the other day and I saw an advert at the side that said, meet single women. But women is plural. I do actually now have a friend with benefits, but that's in a session for you. Met her at a night class, learning languages, specialising in dolphin. We just clicked. But you know, it's a small world, isn't it? In the planetarium. Well, thank you very much for listening to me. I've been Josh Walker. You've been extremely tolerant of me. Thank you ever so much. Have a good night.
Josh talked about going on chess there, so I was always wondering, like, after my bit, is it worse to poo on a chest or get poo in a box? And I think the real difference is consent. Anyway, we've got another fantastic act for you today. I would love you to lose your shit yet again like you did. You were great last time, so let's have it happening again. When I introduce to you, Mr. Henry Banks!
Hello. Right, so I've been at uni for about a year now. I've settled in quite well. I am actually in the cheaper accommodation, so it's not en suite or anything, officially, although it does have a sink in it. So it can be if you're a man or a very tall woman. But you may be wondering why people would actually want to piss in their sink. Well, when more than 20 people share a bathroom, it did result in, and this is a true story, it did result in not one but 2 emails about someone taking a shit on the floor. You know, coupled with the fact that the floor in there is ice cold in winter, I sometimes think that, you know, people in Siberian gulags must be glad they don't have to go to the toilet where we do. So, yeah. That's the one. Yeah. Got going now. So coming to uni is about trying new things, right? And one of the things I tried at the start of the year is this thing called parkour, which is kind of like free running. But the only problem with this was that this is the only running I'd actually done in 2 years. So naturally, I found it a bit difficult, especially after my legs had begun to stiffen up and my chest had become really tight. They then said that I had to stop using the stairs and climb up a wall instead. So naturally, I didn't actually join. However, this resulted in something really interesting, right? Because the very next day, my limbs were so stiff, I found that I'd transformed into a Thunderbirds puppet. Yeah. And this got me thinking about the Thunderbird. Oh, wait, no. Yeah. And the problem with this was that I had trouble, you know, moving up and down stairs and just moving in general. And also, when I was talking to people, I'd have a bit of a problem with them because they wouldn't actually look me in the eyes or anything. They'd look above me to find the strings and whoever was pulling them. But this actually got me thinking about the Thunderbirds, right? They are very bad at their job, international rescue. I don't think they ever tried to rescue the Third World. Show me one episode of Thunderbirds where they're not just rescuing white American people. Imagine what a typical, you know, morning on Tracy Allen would be like, you know. John Tracy comes down the stairs and he goes, oh, well, Brains, what have you got for me today? And Brains goes, well, Mr. Tracy, we've got, let's see, starvation in Zimbabwe, there's another earthquake in Haiti, and, oh yeah, there's a lot of diseases in the Congo. And he goes, oh, okay, what else you got? And he goes, well, looks like 4 teenagers in America are trapped in a cave. And he goes, are they ethnic? No. Oh, holy hell, scramble all the Thunderbirds. Even the space rocket one that we don't ever actually use. Can Zimbabwe have one Thunderbird? No brains they can't. Because I think that John Tracy must be so racist that every day in the morning he comes downstairs and he looks at his in tray, right? And with great difficulty, owing to the fact that he doesn't actually have real hands, just deletes everything that says Africa on it. Yeah. But anyway, back to the subject of uni, condoms. So I received a free one at Freshers' Fair, and for lack of a girlfriend at that point, I didn't really know what to do with it, so I tried to think of some other way to use it. And I hit upon the idea of apocalypse survival, right? Because you could use it as a water carrier, you know? It's very flexible, you could use it for first aid, or even you could wrap yourself in layers of extra safe stuff and use it as armour against the primitive apocalypse weapons. I actually pitched the idea to Durex, but they said condoms only protect against semen. So apparently we have different ideas about what post-apocalyptic raiders are like. But on the subject of adverts, I've been thinking about this new Santander advert that's been on recently. I don't know if you've seen it. It's Jessica Ennis, Jensen Button, and Rory McIlroy, and they're all in this bloke's house for no apparent reason. And they pop out and tell them about Santander. I don't really know why. And you know, all the while I was thinking, this is just, it's not really a very good advert, because all it really says to me is, oh, look at us, we're Santander, we've got all the money, and we've got so much money, we paid these people to go in this house for just no reason. So I thought, what's the next advert going to be like? Is it going to be, you know, Jensen Button strapped down in a chair looking all scared, and then this bloke just walks on and goes, oh, hello, we're Santander. This is Jensen Button. Yeah. Do you know what we did? We bought Jensen Button. We own him. We can do whatever we want to you, can't we, Jensen? Oh, yes. So we could use this ad space to tell you about our fantastic deals, but I think we're going to play dentists, aren't we, Jensen? We're going to play dentists using Rory's golf clubs, which we also bought with our money. Yeah. Or maybe, I think maybe their next adverts could actually be like they put all these athletes in some kind of saw traps, you know, with ironic punishments, like maybe Jensen gets crushed by a car, Jessica Ennis gets trampled by a herd of other athletes. I could go on with this, but then the only other ironic deaths I could think of for athletes involved, you know, like football players being attacked by bulls, which started to sound like a weird gay porno, so I think we'll just leave that one there. And move on to Toy Story. Right? Now I know what you're thinking here, this is the cutest film ever made, right? All the toys, they come to life and they have these wonderful adventures, but it can't be that much fun for the toys that don't have faces, can it? You know, I mean, think about it. Woody and Buzz, they're fine, they look like people, they've got faces. Mr. Potato Head, he is an abomination. But at least he's got a face. Right, but Andy's Etch-a-Sketch, he doesn't have a face. So all he can feel is people shaking him about, which must be terrifying. And I can only assume that those two knobs he's got are his nipples. And what do people do to him? You know? So all Andy's Etch-a-Sketch can feel is people shaking it about and then nipple twisters, basically. So I think Pixar must have just left out the scenes where he's actually just writing, oh God, please Woody, throw me out the window and end this, I can't take it. You know? Or what about even Andy's bouncy ball, right? Because at least the Etch-a-Sketch can write things, the bouncy ball can't communicate with anything, it's just a consciousness that gets kicked around all the time. I was going to make a kick in the balls joke here, but then I realised something more horrifying about Toy Story, and that's that they've all got human personalities and desires, but no genitals. So they're all going to be very, very sexually frustrated. Yeah, and that brought me on to another kids show, actually, Thomas the Tank Engine, right? And I guess you could say that this one could be a bit cruel, because maybe Thomas and friends are actually slaves to the Fat Controller, and their sole purpose is just to ship in copious amounts of fast food for him to stuff his fat fucking face with. But I think that in reality it's a little bit more sinister than that. I think what it actually is that if you properly repair and maintain trains, you know, they'll never break. So Thomas and his friends are basically immortal, right? So I think that, you know, 1,000 years in the future, there's Thomas and Friends 3000, where humanity's gone to shit and Thomas is now a spiritual deity to the unwashed masses who are trying to properly manage their transportation systems. But he secretly longs for the sweet embrace of the scrapyard. And I guess you could say being worshipped can't be all that bad, you know? But think about it. Sodor Island, which is where they all live, is 1 square mile. And Thomas's friends consist of Percy the green feckless twat. James the red engine, who pulls all these pranks on him and is therefore a massive cunt. And Gordon the other blue engine, who no one gives a shit about, and is therefore a grumpy old tosspot. So imagine a day on Sodor Island for Thomas the Tank Engine in the year 3000. He's chugging along, he's already got a little bit mad at this point. And then Percy sidles up to him and starts talking about some coal-related bullshit or something like that. So Thomas tries to get away from Percy, and then James comes up to him and pulls a prank on him and goes, bell end. So Thomas is feeling a little bit low at this point, so he goes to Gordon for some condolences. He goes, oh, hello Gordon, we're both blue engines, you know, we both understand each other. And Gordon just goes, fuck off, you little tosspot! Can't you see I'm reading? Everyone knows that trains read a lot. So then, you know, Thomas, he just wants to get away from it all, and he tries to get away, but this is Thomas and Friends 3000, and so all the cultists that worship him are following him around the island. You're like, oh, plays the blue engine, or something like that. And I think one of the most cruel things about this is that Thomas, you know, however much he wants to, he can't end it all, because he doesn't have hands, and the rails don't go off cliffs. I'm Henry Banks, thank you very much.